This is the setup for a simple distillation. The first clamp goes near the round bottom. Normally it would go on the round bottom, but since we have these screw caps, I can put the clamp at the three-way adapter so that I can remove and fill the round bottom later. And then the second clamp, I am using where the glassware wants to be and clamping it in place. Whenever you clamp glassware, don't try to clamp the glassware first and then fit it together. Put it where it wants to be and then adjust the clamp to secure it in place. You'll notice there is already tubing attached to the condenser. The lower tube is the one where we want the water going in, so we attach that to the pump. And the other tube, the water is just draining out, so we're just going to put that into the bucket. You want to have the water flowing uphill in the condenser. That forces the whole condenser to get filled with the water. If you had it flowing downhill, it could just trickle along the bottom edge of the condenser and not wrap the entire tube in cold water. Now that the tubing is attached, you can plug in the pump and then check to see that the water is flowing. If not, check the button near the plug. A lot of times these get tripped by the water pumps. The sample being distilled is a mixture of ethanol and water. 500 microliters of this solution has a mass of 0.480 grams, and then the entire amount being distilled is 11.284 grams. Now the flask can be attached and the heating and the stirring started. The tubes are already all set and there's cooling water in place, so we just have to watch it distill. At first we see vapors of ethanol coming over. Ethanol has more of a sheeting action on the glass, and when those vapors hit the thermometer, the temperature rises rapidly. The temperature is recorded when the first drops come over, and then every half a milliliter after that. Every 1 milliliter, the tube is changed to collect just 1 milliliter in each tube. As water starts to come over instead of ethanol, you can notice there's beading on the glass, and of course the temperature goes up. The big difference between a simple and fractional distillation is that long fractionating column between the flask and the three-way adapter. Other than that, the distillation was conducted the same way. The same amount was used. The report asks for the amount and mass percent you started with, so you can use the numbers given earlier in the video. The use of centrifuge tubes to collect the fractions was convenient because it allowed for each fraction to be capped as it was collected, so that prevented evaporation. Here you can observe a close-up of how different water looks when it's distilling. Instead of ethanol, water beads up on the glass a lot more than ethanol does, and it even has trouble getting through the small tube at the end of the vacuum adapter and getting into the final collection tube. And finally, the density of each fraction was determined by pipetting 500 microliters into a tared tube and obtaining the mass.